Hey everyone, this is Kevin from thechesswebsite.com. Today we're going to be looking at the Queen's Gambit opening. And the Queen's Gambit's probably the most popular gambit out there that most people play. It's played at the top level quite a bit. And one of the reasons for that is it's not really a true gambit. On the second move, White gives up a piece but can easily get that back. If Black tries to hold on to that, he's actually going to be in a world of hurt. So today we're going to be looking at a lot of different variations for the Queen's Gambit. We're going to look at what happens if Black tries to hold on to it and some of the main lines that Black has and how to attack those. We're going to be going over a lot of key concepts, a lot of things to always keep in the back of your mind when you're playing the Queen's Gambit. So hopefully this is helpful, and let's get into it. Starts out with pawn to d4, Black responds pawn d5, and immediately Black plays pawn to c4. Now this does a couple things. One, it goes straight to the center and starts an attack. Obviously with the Queen's Gambit you are trying to take control of the center right away, and no better way to do that than to challenge this pawn on d5. If any reason this pawn leaves, White can just come here to e4 and have great control of the center with both pawns in the center. Real quick, we're going to go over what happens if Black tries to take and hold on to it. So Black can take, and we'll go over some various lines here in a minute. White can easily just come with a simple move, pawn to e3. Now this sets up for a bishop to just go ahead and take back this piece, and this pawn is nicely placed. It's defending this pawn on d4, getting ready for this attack on c4. Now if Black decides he wants to hold on to it, let's say he comes down with his pawn to b5, White can simply respond with a4, attacking this on b5. Black can always take, but then after we take, this pawn is still hanging on c4 and it eventually will fall. Now Black sometimes will make an error in the game and will play pawn to c6, and after White captures, Black captures, thinking he's adding another defender to this, but now White has a little trap, and it's a devastating move. And it's just simply queen to f3, eyeing down this rook on a8, and there's really nothing Black can do to counter that. He can't put his bishop here because it'll be taken. All he can really do to stop this is move his knight, which will be captured, and then he'll usually move his bishop here to block the check, and his rook is safe, but he's just lost a minor piece. White can now just retreat, and he's got a rook open on the a file, and Black is down a minor piece. So he's going to have a hard time holding on to it, which is why we don't consider the Queen's Gambit a true gambit. Now taking the pawn at the beginning is not a bad move at all, as we see here. But Black usually is not going to respond trying to defend. A lot of times you will see him simply develop his pieces, and you will see something like knight to f6, and then simply White can come in and capture the piece that was taken before, and we are even up in material. And as you can see, this bishop is nicely placed. It's attacking the weakness on the f7 square. We have two pawns out controlling the center. This pawn is attacking the c5 and the e5 square, while this bishop is holding down the d5 square. So we have great center control. We have a minor piece out and two pawns, and he has one minor piece. So if you do play the Queen's Gambit accepted line, you really have a strong force in the center. Black can always come out here, challenge your queen. He does have protection from his knight. For the most part, you're going to be developing your knights. Eventually this knight will come here and you're going to castle. This is kind of the setup of the Queen's Gambit accepted line. Now we're going to kind of take a look at the Queen's Gambit declined. Now this is a lot more common. A lot of players now are playing the Queen's Gambit decline line, and it normally starts with a move like e6. This is kind of the most common move at top level play, and what it does is if white tries to take on d5, black can simply come back, and he's got great center control. He's holding down this e4 square. White can't come to the center, and he's building up a great defense. The one weakness that he has, though, is he has closed in his bishop from moving. And as far as opening theory, you never want to close in your bishops with your pawns, and in any opening you should always keep notice to that, especially for yourself and your opponents. A lot of times you will not notice trapping your bishops, and then later on when you try to activate them you realize that they are out of use. So black has a weakness here with his bishop, so we're going to later down the line try to exploit that. But for here, Queen's Gambit line, it's basically a lot of moves trying to control the center. So we are going to put added pressure on this d5 square and develop our knight here to b3. A lot of times black will respond developing to f6, putting pressure on the e4 square. So he now has two attackers on the e4 square and we have one defender. And normally here we want to, before we move this pawn, we want to go ahead and get our bishop out of the way. And for white, the light square bishop is usually its more powerful bishop. So we're going to go ahead and use our dark square bishop and pin down this knight here. This will allow us, if we want to move this pawn one, we definitely can build a nice little pawn structure where our light square bishop can move around freely, but you definitely want to get this bishop out first. Now he can always respond. He can do a slab defense and move his pawn up. He can always move his knight out. Simply, if he does this, attacking, we're simply going to add another defender and develop to f3. It basically becomes a build up your pieces, and then the fireworks really start going off in the center. White should have the advantage, and black on the Queen's Gambit really just tries to build up a solid defense and not let white get too much momentum. So these are some of the key concepts to keep a look at. Later on down the road I'll analyze some GM games that have played some of the matches in the Queen's Gambit line. But hope y'all have enjoyed this, hope y'all have learned a lot. And be sure to watch the other videos, subscribe, and check out the website www.thechesswebsite.com.